Check out our sponsor, the Safe and Vault store, right now. That's the Safe and Vault store. Click the link below right now. Check out all their safes, their rifle, gun, burglar safes. Check out their Liberty biometric safe, which they sent me. It's awesome. Protect your guns. Click that link below right now. Visit our sponsor. That's the Safe and Vault store. Syria. 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 It's almost like I can feel my stomach sink. Reading about over the course of several hours this morning how tensions are building up in Syria. Russia is moving large-scale cargo planes into the region near Latakia and beefing up the defenses of Bashar al-Assad. Now, of course, the United States has been actively campaigning over the course of 5 years to destroy Bashar al-Assad and his government. They've been launching failed propaganda campaigns. I talked about this a video or two ago. In 2013, blaming the Assad government for alleged chemical attack, which later proved to be false by people like Carla Del Ponte, lead humanitarian investigator at the United Nations. And now they're spinning the propaganda even more intensely, with mainstream reports citing Russia in this large-scale military operational buildup in Syria, outside of Latakia, building up the defenses of Bashar al-Assad. Because Assad is worried, and he should be, because the United States of America and her Western allies have a historical track record of invading these countless independent sovereign nations in the Middle East, whether or not it's Iraq or Afghanistan or now soon to be Syria. Russia is flying these planes. I think they're shipping or they're flying 2 times a day, dropping cargo, supplies, etc. They're also building up tanks in this area, flying 2 times a day. We haven't seen anything like this in decades, according to historians. And again, Bashar al-Assad is nervous. The Russians are using the airspace, of Iraq. They're also using the airspace of Iran. Interestingly enough, a propaganda video came out earlier today, I believe it was, allegedly from the Ayatollah Khamenei. This YouTube video that basically builds and crafts a narrative that Iran will be victorious in a war against the United States, a country that they cite as an invading criminal nation.
We could knock out their military with speed and dispatch if we chose to.
این آقا گفته است که میتواند ارتش ایران را نابود کند. من نمیخوام در این زمینه چیزی بگم. قدیمی‌های ما اینجور حرف‌ها رو لاف در غریبی میگفتن. اونها که این حرف رو خواهند شنید، اگر میخواهند درست بفهمند، اگر میخواهند از تجربه‌های خود درست استفاده بکنند.
Referring to America. Again, the same country Obama is supposedly negotiating with this, nuke deal over a period of 10 years before they can build a bomb. Grossly pissing off our once allies and ally Israel. I think less of a tenth of the population in Israel thinks that Obama is pro-Israel. They actually view him as very hostile. And Benjamin Netanyahu, of course, also views Obama as extremely hostile to the Jewish state. So we have these tensions building. We have this radical propaganda video allegedly released by the Ayatollah, which is probably was released by the CIA. I mean, they're basically building the war drums is what's happening. They're building this narrative, and it makes my stomach sink. It makes me nervous because I haven't seen the rhetoric build like this in quite some time. And now that we're seeing this met by action from Russia, again, there's been a dispute in Ukraine. The United States has largely been responsible for, and has been actively campaigning to destabilize, forcing Russia to react in the Ukraine. We are now seeing action, actual action. Again, actions speak louder than words, with a military buildup of tanks, cargo planes flying into the region multiple times a day into Syria. This increases the chances of a dramatic conflict and an act of war between the United States and Russia. And again, they use these smoke screens all the time throughout history. They'll use a chance event, although it's been created and crafted, say, by the United States or the opposing country, like, let's say, Russia, for example, to basically launch the United States into war. We saw this with the Gulf of Tonkin, which was largely bogus, according to declassified CIA documents, basically just total bullshit that allegedly launched us into another tragic war that took up a good portion of American history in Vietnam. Now we're seeing the same thing happen in Syria, and what's really sad about this is it's such a humanitarian crisis. Estimates say that 250,000, up to 250,000 people have died in Syria as a result of this large-scale destabilization effort, again, being led by the United States of America. Now, this is not my opinion. The United States invaded Iraq, they invaded Afghanistan, they've been there for more than a decade. We've had countless civilians murdered, men, women, and children. Estimates again ranging that 250,000 or more Syrians have died as a result of this intervention, and now there's this mass fleeing from the Middle East of all these refugees pouring into Europe. Again, all of this happening for a reason. This is a part of the destabilization master plan. Now we have everybody leaving a country, Syria specifically, that is about to break out into a much larger scale war. This is extremely serious. It should make people extremely nervous. Now, of course, the United States has put in a puppet leader in Iraq, which still kind of plays both sides. I think Russia has also been supporting Iraq, and so has Iran, so they're kind of conflicted, and the leader's conflicted, even though he's a puppet installed by the United States federal government. We saw the same thing in Egypt with these revolutions and counter-revolutions and re-revolutions, etc., ad nauseum. We've even seen the same thing economically in Greece. Again, economics and politics play into this master game plan, which is leading us to the next great war. It's just uncanny to see the rhetoric build. It's uncanny to me personally to see the mass propaganda. Again, this latest video put out allegedly by the Ayatollah and released by Iran's supreme leader, total bullshit. I mean, again, probably crafted by the Central Intelligence Agency or intelligence here in the United States. Again, to build this war drum, to spread the fear. And what we should be realistically fearful of are the actions that are escalating. Again, this only increasing. Russia bringing cargo planes and putting tanks on the ground, supplies, military personnel, etc., is only increasing the chances and likelihood for one of these false flag events, for a chance encounter where people die. And then that pushes us further into the war. Again, the United States needs an excuse. In 2013, the false allegation that Bashar al-Assad had murdered his own people through chemical warfare turned out to be false. It was proven by the international community and the United Nations. And since that didn't work, now they are beefing up measures. They're trying new tactics so that America can justify this war. Again, sell it as a humanitarian crisis, sell it as Obama saving the children, and basically take away our freedom with 1,000 cuts, cut by cut. All of this a part of the master plan in the Middle East. Again, this destabilization effort, which has not arguably, but factually created a more terrifying area. The greater Levant, Iraq and Syria, has been completely destabilized by the United States, direct efforts in this part of the world. Radicalized even more people, created an even more violent terrorist organization and terror group, according to our own government and intelligence, in the name of ISIS, ISIL. And while Obama sells it as we are fighting ISIS or attacking ISIL, that's really just a smokescreen and a red herring for the real purpose. Again, they need an excuse. They need an event. They need a false flag like the Gulf of Tonkin before the entrance of Vietnam. They need something to justify this war. Again, Obama's constantly having to save the children. I mean, he uses the children for, taking away our guns, in the tragic murders at Sandy Hook and those types of events to serve his agenda. Actions speak louder than words. So we see an increased buildup in physical action being taken place in Syria. This, of course, is all leading up to war, and things are incredibly tense. I haven't seen the tensions this high, honestly, since I've been doing this, and it should be gravely concerning to the international community. Please get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face. I'm Christopher Greene, and click the link below to support our sponsor.